Okay, still more investigating. And here's some interesting facts that I came up with that I think, many should be aware of. You know, we got to talk about our national debt. The last time that the United States was debt free, was was in 1835. And Andrew Jackson was president. He was able to pay it off, so we had no debt. 1835. All right. As of today, it's almost $29 trillion. But what I found interesting was not that long ago, back in 2004, it was only 7 trillion. 2004. So in what? 14 years, we spent $22 trillion. Where'd that go? I know that the pandemic afforded a lot of it. I can understand that we needed it. We needed far more help than they gave us. But where did that go? You know, from 1776 till now, it's been what, 245 years, something like that. And we've accrued that much debt. But it's been so much more recently. And next year, we need more money. That's going to continue forever. How are these generations to come going to pay for that? Is it fair that they have to pay for that? It's like these kids being born with a big, giant debt that's already there. So how do we do that? I just real quick, I want to touch on something else. To pay off our debt, every single living person in the United States, no matter the age, would have to kick in $87,842 a piece to pay off our debt. I don't have it. Do you? So many of these things, these promises that were made are just not true. It looks like now with these plans and all these things are putting through, taxes are going to benefit the wealthy, and the middle class and lower class are going to be ones footing the bill. Which is the way it's always been. But it can't continue to happen. It's got to stop. This debt that we incur, when is it going to end? How's it going to end? How? It just can't be. In your household, which is the same as mine, you have something called a budget. Okay, you can't spend money that you don't have. I can't, unless you have a credit card or something. But then there's even limits there. But you can only spend so much money. You got to be able to pay that off. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just keep buying stuff? Just keep on buying. Don't matter how much we make. Just keep buying stuff. Spending. Just keep spending. That's what's happening. And I think when you're talking about this kind of money that affects Americans this deeply and for this long of a time, we should have some say in it. I don't think there's a lot of people that agree. If they really look into it, agree that this plan is really a good idea. Because in my mind, it's just my opinion, it's only temporary. When you're talking about, I did construction for a few years, but you're talking about redoing roads, bridges, all that. There's a beginning and an end date to that. You're going to start it and you're going to finish it at some point. So there's an end date. What you're doing there is just take the money that's in the United States. You're just moving it around, right? So what do you really need to do? You need to bring in money from the outside, a new influx of money from other countries into the United States. How do you do that? By industry, by manufacturing, by creating products. It's so hard to buy a car these days because there's a chip shortage. We invented the chip, but yet there's a shortage of it. We need industry in that. We should be the manufacturers and providers to the world for everything, like we used to be when America was doing great. There was a time when the Germans couldn't even build a washing machine. They bought it from us because we were able to manufacture them. We need to be that again. What that does is that brings in new money. That new money can be used to pay off our debt and to give jobs that'll be permanent. Because when you're creating manufacturing, you're talking about plants and developments and jobs that'll be around for nothing's forever, but long term. Look at the car industry, General Motors. They've been around for a long time. That's what we need, things that last that long. Because short term, just band-aids. It's not gonna work. So that's my opinion on what we should do to help us get out of this gigantic hole that's being dug. But right now, if you look at it, our debt is almost 8 times more than what the government brings in yearly, total. So if they took all the money that they brought in revenue and taxes, didn't spend on anything else, didn't pay themselves nothing, didn't pay for anything else, Social Security, none of that stuff, and put 100% towards it, it would still take 8 years to pay it off. That's scary. Or if every homeowner wanted to kick in and help get it paid off, you, me, everybody, comes to about $86,842 a piece. That means everybody from the age of 1 to 100, every living person in the United States. And what's a little concerning is, in 2004, we only were $7 trillion in debt. And now we're almost $29 trillion in debt. 17 years. That's a lot of money to be spent. Remember what a trillion is, just 1 trillion. 1 trillion $1 bills lined up end to end would go from the earth to the moon and back 4 times. Here's another thing to help you wrap your head around what a trillion is. Because this number's being thrown around and people don't really realize what it entails. Jesus was on this earth about 2,000 years ago. 2,020 years ago, whatever, right? We can agree on that. 2,000 years ago. 1 trillion seconds ago, 1 trillion seconds ago was over 31,000 years. So Jesus was around 2,000, a little over 2,000 years ago. 1 trillion seconds ago was over 31,000 years. Get a picture of what a trillion is? It's a lot. An awful, 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 awful lot. Last time we weren't in any debt, like I said, was 1835. America was debt free, 1835. But these last, these last years were, we went from 7 trillion to 28, where we are now, 29 trillion. Is concerning to me. Where's it all going? So anyway, it's not fair that these young kids are being strapped with this debt. And, when you're talking about spending this kind of money, we should have a say in it. We should. We're the ones going to pay it back. Representatives are supposed to represent us. Yes, but I don't know. I just don't always agree with what their decisions are. Maybe you agree with them, maybe you don't. But we should be heard, especially when we're talking about this. This is something that will affect generations to come. We should have a say in this. Okay, a say. Do we want a Band-Aid or do we want a solution? That's in my opinion. We need that new revenue from other countries, outside countries. We want to be manufacturing everything. Most importantly, so we don't depend on anyone for anything. And secondly, so we bring a new revenue to pay down our debt, to give this country, to make it a better place for our generations, our children to come. Because right now it's just, I feel horrible about, the way, the state that we're leaving this country for our children. It's not good. Not even our children. Generations. Anyway, so that's pretty much my opinion. That's my rant for today. Make your voice heard. If you don't agree with something, you don't like with something, contact your representatives. Call them, email them, do anything you can to let them know. Make your voices heard. Too many people think, what's my opinion going to do? A lot of people sitting around saying that. When you put all those opinions together, you have a pretty loud voice. And they all want the votes. So make your voice heard. All right? Make your voice heard. Things got to change. It's bad. All right. That's my opinion. Everybody, hope you have a good day. All right. Oh, wait. Here's one more thing. Got to say this. This is the presidential candidate. Anyway, this is Zeus. This is my Zeus. He's my boy. If it wasn't for him, I don't know where I'd be. Anyway, you should all have one of these. Man's best friend. They say, lock your dog in the trunk for 2 hours of your car. You open it, he's happy to see you. You lock your girlfriend in the trunk of your car for 2 hours and you open it, not so happy. Man's best friend right here. The best. Have a good day.